Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Welcome to Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, links, rumours, noise, murmurings, incomings, outgoings, you name it. You'll find it here on Transfer Hub and Up the Villa. We are 6 subscribers away from 27,000. So on this episode, one of you can be the lucky 27k subscriber of Up the Villa. What a privilege and what an honor that could be if that is you. Right. So make sure you are subscribing if you are new. We're doing brilliant. You're doing brilliant. You're engaging, which is great. Make sure you're hitting the like button. And more importantly, comment your thoughts. Goes off like a fan forum every time. So Aston Villa have been linked with Rabiot from Marseille. But we're also going to have a little bit of a chat about Villa's transfer window with a week to go. So we'll do that first, and then we'll get into Rabiot. So we've got 1 week to go, and where are we at? What do we think is going to happen? Unai Emery, after the game, alluded that there are, did he say the word circumstances? So maybe some players may still be leaving. There was no Ealing Jr. in the squad, so he's probably gone out on loan. That might get announced today, or I might have missed it, but I don't think it's been announced. We've still got the Buendia option. I think if someone bids for Buendia, I think we will allow him to go on loan with a fee, maybe. We've got links with Saudi for Onana. Is this why we are linked with Rabiot? Who knows? Potentially. Potentially not. We don't know, do we? We haven't got a clue. And there's obviously murmurings of, and Vidagani shut it down, about Rodgers, which I don't think Rodgers is going. So, and then you've got Martinez, who has actively wanted to leave Aston Villa this summer. So if someone bids for Martinez, we'll probably sell him. I think that's where we might be at with that situation. So, and we'll caveat that with, he did think he was going. That's why he was crying on the last home game against Spurs. So he's thought he was leaving Aston Villa. So, and then we've got, what have we been linked with? Well, there's strong murmurings of Asensio. And he's apparently personal terms, he's not a problem. He's agreed those and he's comfortable and happy to come. Camvo, we've had a bid rejected for him, a second one. We had a second one rejected. So we're actively in for Camvo. Now, if that's a second one, normally third one lands and gets the player. So I think where we're at is we are playing a bit of a waiting game. We've got interest in Jackson, which I think is very strong. We've got interest in Nkunku, which I don't really get that one. If I'm being totally honest, I just don't see where he fits in. So I think what's probably going to happen is, and this is my logical thinking of where we're at. So we are probably not going to do any business Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe start putting feelers out on Friday, getting ready for the deadline. Now, this is just basic, isn't it? This is what generally happens with someone like, let's use the scenario of Nicholas Jackson. Why on earth would we bid for Nicholas Jackson before deadline? Because we know that we've got a limit on how far we can probably go with Nicholas Jackson. And while he's still in the market, you're not going to bid in an open space when they know they want to get rid of the player. So Chelsea want to get rid of the player. At the start of the window, they valued him at 80 million at the start of the window. Nobody's come in. That fee has gone lower and lower and lower and lower. And what Villa will probably do on deadline day, when Chelsea are backed into a corner, when they know they've got a player that now knows he's not wanted, they're not going to play him. So they need to get rid of him. So Villa put a bid in for Jackson of a certain fee or a certain loan deal or with a certain obligation and go, this is our bid. Now, if nobody bids for him on that day, Chelsea have got a very difficult decision to make. Do they accept it or go, no, we'll just keep him until Jan? They probably need a bit of cash as well to try and get Xavi Simons over the line, Garnacho over the line. So that's the decision that you're giving Chelsea. Now, sometimes it gets accepted. Like, look at Disasi. They were like, no, he's not going, he's not going, he's not going. In the end, 6:30 on deadline day, he's on his way to Villa. So that is the situation now. That situation is good for Villa on how we can operate, because we're not being sort of mugged off with a fee. The bad thing for Villa is if Chelsea go, no, then what do Villa do? And this is what I think Villa do. I think Villa know that they can get Asensio. And I think they know that he will come. And I think we've said to Asensio, this is going to be a late deal in the window. Bear with us. We'll get it done. He's not got loads of suitors. Otherwise, he'd have gone to Fenerbahce, etc. He's turned them down. So I think we've got a couple of players that are prepared to wait and probably will come if we put the bids in. Canvo will come. Asensio will come. So on that aspect, I think Villa are pretty chill, thinking that we've probably got these two players that we can go in and get if we need them. But the difficulty with that is it's like the Jackson ones where you're just trying to put someone into a corner and hope that they accept what we are willing to do with them. So we're in territory now of working and using the window to your advantage. Now, they might want to get this deal done a bit quicker, and they might come to Villa and say, look, we're open to talk now. Let's try and get it done. And we're going to hope that something like that can happen. Could we drop a little cheeky out of nowhere? Possibly. And I think what Villa have tried to do, especially with SCR, and I think it is clever, but it obviously means that we're having to wait for signings, is we've manoeuvred the window with SCR, with all of our wages, into a position where we started the window very heavy, Coutinho's, Dendonkers, those type of players, and we've enabled us to move to a space over here now where we've got a lump fee of wages that we've been able to maneuver, and we've got a base to work with. So what we've ended up doing is sort of like working to this position so that we know how much we've got to play around with. So that is what I think's happened. We've got, and I don't know what the number is. I don't think anybody knows. But we've probably got maybe, for example, 200 grand a week to work with, maybe. And that could be 3 players worth of wages, maybe. That, for off the top of my head, could be 300 grand a week. You know, you're looking at someone like Nicholas Jackson at Chelsea. He's on 100 grand a week. So if he comes to Villa, he'll be on less than 100 grand a week. That's what you can work with. Canvo's not going to be on a lot of money, is he? Asensio's probably going to be on about, accepting Villa's terms, this is might surprise some. He's probably going to be on about 85. He's not going to be on over 100. We're just not going to do that. And obviously his wages will come down significantly. So that's where I think we're at with the window. That's what I think we've done. So, and with Monchi, I feel like his hands are very tied at times. And I think that he's had to maneuver and work around and reduce. And I think sometimes you can look at Monchi and go, do you know what? You're not signing the right players. You've not signed this player. You've not signed that. But actually within his job, it's his job to get rid of players as well, and to be able to maneuver finances around. He's actually done a good job to get rid of Dendonka, get rid of Coutinho. You know, he's done a good job there. Now, the loan deals, from my understanding and how this works, is that if you are actively looking like you are moving players on, so we are loaning out, we are giving options to buy, obligations with Baron Chair, etc., that goes in your favour with this program that UEFA have set up. So just because some of them aren't going for a fee doesn't actually mean that it's a bad deal for Villa. So I think in that aspect, he's done a good job. Signing wise, look, we'll talk about that when the window shuts, but I would like to see us try and utilise a market where we can find a Semenyo. And I think we do that with defenders. We sign a lot of young defenders, but we haven't really signed any young attacking wingers like a Semenyo, etc. And they are out there. So I'd like to probably see us utilise that market a little bit more. But I think you've got the Emery effect at the same time of, yes, he can coach players and yes, he can develop them, but I don't actually think he wants loads of those type of players. I think he wants ready-made, custom players that can just slot in and play. And yes, he coaches them, but they don't need to be completely refined. And maybe that's part of it within that aspect of what we're recruiting. So I think that's where I'm at with this window. Those are my thoughts. That's where I feel like we're going to attack the window, and players that are linked with Aston Villa. Now, Rabiot is linked with Aston Villa, which is a bit of a random one, not going to lie. It's a bit out the blue, and it's just a bit random. But we know that Rabiot is not in the greatest place at Marseille, apparently with that training ground bust-up. So the rumour is coming from L'Equipe, saying today the proposals arrive on the cellular desk of Medhi Benatia, Galatasaray, Aston Villa, West Ham, Inter, and other Italian clubs. But the director of football at Olympique Marseille no longer has any exchange with Adrien Rabiot and his mother. Right, so Rabiot looks like he's leaving, and Villa's name has been put about there. Where would he play for Villa? Now, I mentioned earlier, if someone like Onana leaves, then we would have to replace him. Rabiot's 30, has got a vast amount of experience, still an international player, very, very good on the ball, and he could fill a void at Aston Villa. Is it long-term? No. Where else could he play? Well, he could play in this little pocket where we were talking about Paqueta yesterday. So he could occupy that space if nobody leaves and he comes in. And I think his overriding numbers are actually top bracket, really. When you're comparing him against midfielders in the top 5 leagues, he's in the top 2% for non-penalty goals, top 2% for assists, top 4% of non-penalty goals and expected assists as well. If we look at his progressive carries, he's in the top 6%, touches in the attacking penalty area, top 3%, progressive passes received, top 3%. And then when we're comparing him to central midfielders or midfielders in his position, he's good. I mean, shots total 1.71 per 90. If we have a look at some of his defensive work, then key passes 1.12 per 90, passing to the final third 5.21. Defensive. Let's go down here and have a look at defensive. Percentage of dribblers tackled is in the top 15%. Possession, touches in the attacking third, top 8%. Touches in the attacking penalty area, top 3%. Carries look good. Right, where can we see tackles? So interceptions 0.73, tackles 1.08, aerials is winning 55.7% of his aerials. So he is a good player, and he's a player that has had a good career, but is he exactly what we need? No. Is the link a little bit random? Yes. Is he a good central midfielder? Yes. I actually feel like his persona would be quite good for Villa, in the fact that he's got that little bit of he's got that experience, but he's got that, the word I'm looking for, he's got that bit of arrogance, and I quite like that about him. So he is still playing international football with France, 53 appearances, 6 goals, and his market value is at 25 million euros, and he's in the last year of his contract. So the fee wouldn't actually be that high either. So last season, he had a really good season for Marseille. He had a SOFA score rating of 7.41. We can see predominantly on that left-hand side, can do more of a defensive work, but in a midfield 3, which could be a little shift to Villa's system. He scored 9 goals, 4 assists last season. Successful dribbles, 53%. Total duels, 49. Aerials, 57. Passing accuracy, 87. Own half, 93. Opposition half, 81%. So tidy, comfortable, good on the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the window for Aston Villa then. I'll be intrigued to see what you guys are all thinking at home. Where do you feel like this window's going to go? If anyone says we're not signing anyone, then I'm deleting your comment now. Not really. I do think we will sign someone. So today, I imagine there may be some more Villa news. So we'll jump on when that drops. Hopefully, it's linking us to a good player. And guys, I cannot wait for 8 o'clock this evening. Newcastle, Liverpool. I can't wait for it. I am so excited to watch that game. I've had my eye on it now for about a week, and I can't wait for it. And actually, guys, not going to lie, right? Not going to lie. I think I'm having the best start ever to a fantasy football campaign I have ever had. So far, look at this. 51 points, and I've got Verts and Ekatike tonight to come. So I'm cooking already. I am in the Up the Villa League. I'm 255. So buzzing about that. Absolutely buzzing that I've got off to a good start. So my interest is still there. Right. So I'm going to go. Hopefully I'm back later with a link or something. So cheers, everyone. Up the Villa.